We start with the race for Arizona Attorney General, the state's top law enforcement officer. There are 6 Republicans competing in the August primary. On the Democratic side, after last week's filing deadline, there is just one candidate left standing. Joining us now is the Democratic candidate for AG, Kris Mayes. She's a former chair of the Arizona Corporation Commission. That's the state's regulator for power and water companies. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks, Ram. It's great to be here.
Why do you want this job?
Look, it is an incredibly important time to restore integrity and trust and independence at the Arizona Attorney General's office. This is the most important law enforcement job in the state of Arizona, and it is long past time for us to restore the core duties of the AG's office, which have been lost and ignored by the current Republican Attorney General. We need to start prosecuting elder abuse, protecting consumers against consumer fraud. We need to protect individual liberties in this state, including reproductive rights. We need to protect our natural resources from big polluters. And most of all, Bram, we have got to protect our democracy and voting rights, and that's why I'm running.
We're going to talk about that. Now, you've said you'll be an independent attorney general. Define independent. What does that mean to you?
Look, one of the first people that I talked to when I was deciding to run for attorney general was Grant Woods. And I think Grant Woods showed exactly what kind of an attorney general we need in the state of Arizona. And that's the kind of attorney general who will call who will prosecute elder abuse, who will prosecute consumer fraud, who will walk into the office every day not thinking about whether he's a Republican or she's a Democrat, but what's right for the people of Arizona. What can we do? How can I walk into this office and work on behalf of the people of Arizona? You know, this is, again, the top law enforcement job in the state of Arizona. It should not matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
So you are a Democrat. Is there anything the Biden administration has done that you might stand up to on behalf of Arizonans?
Well, look, I think that we have a problem. It's a significant problem at our border. I think we have a surge of migrants right now at the border that is not being dealt with. I do not agree with the Biden administration that Title 42 should be lifted. I think we need a plan in place before that is lifted. And when I'm Attorney General, I will work with law enforcement officers, sheriffs, police departments, county attorneys, and I will put to deal with trafficking, human trafficking, and drug smuggling, including fentanyl, which is a crisis in our state. But I will also push the federal government to do more and put more resources on the ground at the border.
We have an example of a current attorney general who has filed several suits against the Biden administration. Would you go that far? Would you sue the Biden administration to prevent the lifting of Title 42 if you were in that position?
I would oppose the lifting of Title 42.
As far as go as far as filing a lawsuit?
Well, what Mark Brnovich has done is file a lawsuit and multiple lawsuits that are completely frivolous, ridiculous, and likely to not succeed. We are going to be smart about this when I'm Attorney General. So we could deal with the border situation, but we have to do it in a smart way and not in a way that is guaranteed to fail. And that was what Mark Brnovich has done pretty much in pursuit of his Senate bid against Mark Kelly. And that's the other thing we're going to do, Bram, when I'm Attorney General. We're going to take politics out of the Attorney General's office. We do not need an Attorney General who uses this critical office as his campaign headquarters. And that's going to end when I'm Attorney General.
I want to talk about your politics for a minute. You are a lifelong registered Republican, correct? And only 3 years ago, you re-registered as a Democrat. Why'd you make the switch?
Look, I've had an interesting background. I was a Republican elected official as an Arizona Corporation Commissioner who was appointed by a Democratic governor who, yes, became a Democrat in the last few years. Look, I believe that The Republican Party became far too extreme. This is a party that left a lot of Republicans. It left a lot of Republicans behind. It left a lot of independents behind. And I think what the people of Arizona are looking for is an independent watchdog for them. That's what I was as an Arizona Corporation Commissioner when we stood up to utilities. We said no to utilities when they were asking for exorbitant rate increases. We said no to companies like Kinder Morgan when they and pressured them and put them on notice that they had to fix their pipelines. And we also prosecuted civil securities fraud, tens of millions of dollars restored to the victims of fraud when I was on the commission.
You've made reproductive rights an issue, and I want you to help us understand that. The Democratic candidate for Maricopa County Attorney Julie Gungle says she won't enforce laws, will not enforce any laws limiting the right to an abortion that come down from the Supreme Court. We are expecting a decision from the Supreme Court in June. You've said you won't prosecute Arizonans for abortion. Now, that's not necessarily the AG's job. What did you mean by that?
Well, look, the first thing I think we need to highlight is how extreme the legislation, the bill that Governor Ducey just signed is. The vast majority of Arizonans, Bram, do not believe that any prosecutor, whether it's the Attorney General or county attorney, should be prosecuting doctors and putting them in jail for providing reproductive services to women. We will not prosecute women or doctors when I'm Attorney General.
But that's not the AG's job. Isn't it the county's job in most cases, not the AG's?
In most cases, that's true,
so
but it could fall to the AG under certain circumstances, and the Attorney General supervises county attorneys, okay?
So would you tell the county attorney in Yavapai County, do not prosecute?
I would strongly discourage them from prosecuting an unconstitutional bill. And let me explain this.
But what the Supreme Court says, this is legal. We're going to strike down Roe versus Wade or go to a 15-week ban.
What I think is going to happen is the Supreme Court is going to throw it back to the states to decide. Arizona, and I guess the Republican legislature has forgotten this or didn't read the Arizona Constitution, has an express right to privacy that is broader than the U.S. Constitution.
It also has an abortion law that's been on the books since 1901.
Not the Constitution.
Oh, not the Constitution. But there is a law on the books.
Yes, but the Arizona Constitution has an express right to privacy that I believe will continue to protect a woman's right to choose in the state of Arizona, regardless of what happens with Roe. Obviously, Bram, these issues will be litigated, but I will stand up for a woman's right to choose in Arizona, and it is really going to matter what Attorney General we elect and we hire in November on that issue.
I want to end with a look ahead to 2024 when you would be in office during the presidential election. If you can, just quickly summarize how you would plan for that election as Attorney General, anticipating the questions that might arise given the environment we're in.
Look, I think it's a great question, and it's one of the reasons I'm running for Attorney General. We have to have an Attorney General who will stand up for voting rights, who will stand up for the rule of law, and who will fight unconstitutional attempts to undermine our democracy. Bram, it is outrageous that we experienced in Arizona a situation in which an outfit called the Cyber Ninjas outsourced voter data to a cabin in Montana. You know, it's like we're living in a John Grisham novel in this state. When I'm Attorney General, we will uphold the rule of law. We will protect the right of every Arizonan to vote, and we will support county boards of supervisors and county recorders who for years now have been implementing flawless elections. The last thing I want to say, Bram, is we're going to protect mail-in voting in this state. 90% of Arizonans vote by mail, and the Republican legislature and the Republican Party is suing to overturn vote by mail. We are going to defend vote by mail in Arizona.
Got to end it there. Kris Mayes, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck.
Great to be here. Thanks, Bram.